Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's second video, doing GWV Sunday Round-Up. Today's second video, so it's going to be your eclectic mix of this and that for your Sunday afternoon viewing pleasure. We're going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature anomalies, solar activity, QBO, NEO, AO, and much more as well. And the weather next week, 10 days, will be any signs of cold weather returning into March. We'll have a look at data for you later on in the Sunday Roundup. Thank you so much everybody for being here on this Sunday afternoon. Just to say that the first release date was the 7th and final spring 2021 update. So have a look at that. We've got the spring forecast coming up for you next Sunday. Very exciting times always when we release one of our long range forecasts. So yeah, the spring forecast is going to be released next Sunday, 1 week today. Have a look at the 7th spring update though, if you'd like to do that. I'm going to be live streaming from 6 p.m. this evening. We'll check in, see how we're all doing on this sunny evening. And with that, we're going to show you some long-range summer data, I think. So if you want to see some data for summer 2021, that's going to be with you from 6 p.m. this evening in our sunny evening live stream. Just say that we're grinding our way to 11k subscribers. It has turned into a real grind at the moment. The subs have gone very, very slow, as is often the case at this time of year. You know, interest drops as you go into the spring. But if you're new to the channel, then please can you give us a sub, click like, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tell your friends, family, everybody else to subscribe as well. Everybody who subscribed is a friend, then we'll get to 11k subs that much quicker. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. And if you subscribe, you're going to be able to see future weather content. So thanks so much everyone for doing that. Right, let's go on Sunday Roundup. Then we're going to start off with activities. This is solar disk looking on outside of this day from solarham.net. We have one sunspot region just here, so that's on the far eastern limb of the solar disk. Other than that, it's basically a blank solar disk. So activity is at very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days. This is GWV solar activity tracker updated by a good friend James Acriel up to the 21st today of February. So the orange line is depicting each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. So you can see that we're still getting many days without sunspots. Actually, we had quite a long stretch just there, for example, during the middle part of February. We have got a sunspot now, so the orange line has ticked up, but the trend lines, you have the thick red and thick green lines, they are actually still trending downwards slightly, and we remain at a very low level of solar activity. This spike in sunspots that we had back in November looks like it's a false start to solar cycle 25 at that point. We thought maybe the solar cycle was starting to ramp up, but actually no, since then we've been at a very, very low level of activity. We're now into second year of solar cycle 25, and it is a struggle to get this solar cycle going, as was the case with solar cycle 24. So the indications are definitely there, you know, that this is going to be another weak solar cycle. It's starting on a very slow and sluggish note, and when that happens, very often it means that the rest of the solar cycle is going to be quite weak. So how weak the solar cycle will be remains to be seen. We're thinking of doing Solar Sunday on Easter Sunday. So if you would like to see Solar Sunday on Easter Sunday, then please let us know in the comments. Right, it's been sent through by our good friend Richard Trott, showing spotted days and the current spotless stretch. And look at this, Gav's joined the dark side and gone to Star Trek. It's Gav's Spock today, so I don't know what my Star Wars, my Star Wars compatriots think about that. Gav joining without saying going to Star Trek. Never mind. Thank you, Rich, for the solar, for the gift. Right, let's have a look at this then. Spotless days and current spotless stretch is 0 because we have got a sunspot, of course. For 2021, so far, we've had 31 days without sunspots. That's about 60% of the year, comparable to 2020, which had 208 days without sunspots, which was 57% of the year. Bear in mind, that's the entire calendar year, whereas for 2021, it is only up to today, the 21st. Standard minimum year was 2019, as we know, that had 281 days without sunspots. That was 77% of the year. This is all kind of similar to what happened with Solar Cycle 24 at the start. So, Solar Cycle 24, of course, began or we reached a minimum of Solar Cycle 23 in 2008. That's our solar minimum year. So, 2009 was like the first full year of Solar Cycle 24, and it had 71% of the year without sunspots. 2010, also second year quite weak with 14% of the year without sunspots. So it's all kind of comparable really to Solar Cycle 24, which had a slow start. Solar Cycle 25 is starting in a very, very similar fashion. As I say, I think we might do Solar Sunday. We don't do many Solar Sundays. It's only one, maybe two a year. So Solar Sunday is always a very, very, very special day. I think we might do Solar Sunday on Easter Sunday, which is the first Sunday of April. If you'd like to see Solar Sunday on Easter Sunday, let me know in the comments, everybody. Right, let's see what's happening with the oceans then. So this is how the oceans looking. We did last week's Sunday Roundup. We've got our three areas of interest. We've got the ENSO region just here. We've got the Northern Pacific over there, and then we've got the North Atlantic over here. That's how the ENSO region was looking then last week, I should say, when we did last week's Sunday Roundup. This is the latest. Let's have a look at that then. So in the ENSO region, very little change. La Nina continues. We still have the signature for La Nina, this cold average area of sea surface temperature anomalies through the equatorial Pacific. So that goes on. That continues for the time being. It's like a central and western based La Nina through here. The eastern part of the ENSO region has warmed up a little bit. That's relatively shallow waters, of course, more subject to changing weather conditions. But from last week to this week, have seen a little bit of a warm up in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific. But most places actually looking still rather cold, and the La Nina signal goes on. Further northwards, in the northern Pacific Ocean, remains a little bit cooler. It has been for a year or two in the northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean, and then into the Atlantic. Generally, the North Atlantic is quite warm still. Sea surface temperatures. Down in the tropics, it's a little bit cooler through there. It has cooled slightly in the tropical Atlantic over the past week. Again, that's how it looked in the tropics last week. This is how it looks this week. Definite signs of a little bit cooler through the tropical Atlantic this week to last week. So maybe a bit of a cool down start to take place through the tropics. We shall see about that. Solar Oscillation Index looks like this. So the SY is just an index that's reflecting, measuring the atmospheric state. Really, it's measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. When the SY is positive, then the atmospheric state will be reflective of La Nina. When the SY is negative, the atmospheric state will be reflective of El Nino. If we come down here, we can see our columns. So this column here is for Tahiti, showing daily barometric pressure readings for Tahiti. This one is for Darwin, and this one, of course, is the overall SOI number. We're still in the positive phase of the SOI, as you'd expect at the end of a La Nina winter. So all days really are posting positive numbers for the SOI. These are preliminary, but they don't change all that much. They aren't changed a great deal when they become finalised. So it's just a question of how positive the SOI is. I mean, on the 13th of February, it's only slightly positive at 2.9, but more recently we've seen proper positive numbers again. So the 17th of February at plus 28.77, 18th of February at plus 29.40, 19th of February at plus 22.82, 20th of February at plus 21.71, 21st of February at plus 19.79. These are all very, very positive numbers, telling us that the atmospheric state remains very much in a La Nina type setup. The ocean and the atmosphere have coupled up, and that's the reason we have had a solid sort of, albeit quite weak, to borderline moderate landing winter. The 30-day SOI average is actually ticking back up again a little bit. It's been very positive anyway, but at the beginning of at the end of January to the beginning of February, it was up here, reduced to around there earlier on into February. Now it's lifting up again, but nevertheless, like still very positive, really, with the 30-day average. The 90-day average, the orange line here, or the yellow line, that is still lifting upwards as well. Everything, atmosphere and ocean very much solidly in landing year territory at the moment. QBO looks like this. Our seventh and final spring update is a bit of a QBO special. So we're looking at springs that occur with a mature westerly QBO state, and springs that do a flip or a transition, or start a transition during the spring from a west to an east QBO. So, of course, this is from NASA. We've got the stratosphere level up here. We've got the heights for the atmosphere just here. 30 to 50 HPA is the troposphere, and that's a boundary level as to whatever takes place. So, almost drew a straight line there, didn't I? So, in the troposphere, we've got the westerly QBO, this sandy coloured area just here. Westerly QBO goes on in the troposphere. But in the stratosphere, we've got an easterly QBO lurking. We're waiting for the easterly QBO to descend. The easterly QBO should have descended last year from spring to summer, but it didn't. It failed and got sent packing back up into the stratosphere again from the troposphere. That is where the ECQBO still resides, in the stratosphere. At some point, we think the ECQBO will descend, but when it happens, how long it's going to take, it's taking a long time, isn't it? So at the moment, it just goes on, the situation we've been in for some time. The duel, really, between westerly and the easterly QBO continues at the moment. It's still westerly QBO in the troposphere that has the upper hand. We should wait and see if and when the easterly QBO starts to descend from the stratosphere into the troposphere. This is how Eurasian snow cover and Arctic size extent looked last week. We did last week's Sunday Round-Up. This is from 17th of, it was from the 13th of February. So you can see that most of Eurasia and Europe is covered with snow at this point last week, even into the UK, into the west of France. We've got quite deep snow cover. This is the latest, and the snow line has pulled right way back into eastern Europe now. So still a little bit of snow going across certain parts of Germany, but generally the snow line is pulling back into eastern Europe. This is the beginning of course, the disappearance of snow. By the time we get through to summer, all of this area that is coloured white will be green. All the snow will go. And except over mountainous regions, of course, and will be snow-free by sort of June, July time, and then in September it will all start to come back again. So much of Western Europe has become snow-free away from high ground anyway. It's now Eastern Europe that have that snow line, and in the coming weeks and months, that snow line will pull back into Russia. Scandinavia remains pretty much universally covered with snow as well. This is how the AO observed and forecast is looking. So remember, as with all of the indexes like the QBO, the SOI, the Arctic oscillation is just an index that's measuring the atmospheric status and drive anything in its own terms, just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. When the SOI when the Arctic oscillation is negative, got blocking over the North Pole. So the AO, negative AO, associated with high pressure over pole. Conversely, a positive AO is associated with low pressure over the North Pole. Through this winter, the AO has been negative. Look at this, around the 1st of December, Arctic oscillation went negative, reached its lowest point this winter, I think, and so it's the lowest point of winter now. Only a few days ago, actually, back in the second week of February, had all of that cold weather. Since then, though, the AO has risen very quickly. The Arctic oscillation now is in a weekly positive phase. GFS ensembles through the rest of Februare have forecasting the Arctic oscillation to stay positive. Into early March, we may see a few hints there that the AO is going to start going more negative. We'll wait and see about that, but definitely for the rest of February, we're going to have low pressure over the Arctic and Greenland over pole. Polar vortex is back in business, and so the AO is going to be positive. And the NEO has also gone positive as well. Through most of the winter, the NEO, North Atlantic Oscillation, indicated by a black line here, was in a neutral to weakly negative state. The current position is neutral to weakly positive. And for the next couple of weeks, the NEO is going to stay neutral to weakly positive. In fact, it may get a little bit more positive with the NEO as we move into the early part of March. So both indexes are positive over the next couple of weeks. This tells us that low pressure is back over the Arctic. We're also strengthening the zonal westerly flow. We've got low pressure strengthening around Iceland. We've got high pressure strengthening around the Azores, and basically we're back into a default setup now. We're back in business with westerlies and with zonality, and all of the things that were absent through most of the winter, with blocking and high pressure within the northern latitudes. All of that is going away at the moment, and we're back into a flat sort of zonal westerly type pattern for the end of this winter. Right, let's use the forecast then. So this is how the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensemble is looking for the next couple of weeks. We're at London today. Red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We're starting off significantly milder than average at the moment, of course, and for the next few days as well. By weekend, just a little bit of a reduction in the upper air temperature. Not going cold, but closer to average. And then we're taking off again as we go into the opening days of March, becoming quite mild. Now, right at the extended range of the GFS, we have got some cold outliers still appearing. Today's operational GFS run, the midnight GFS operational run, did go quite cold. I'll show you that in a moment. These are outliers, though. They continue to be there in the extended range. They never get any closer than the extended range, and most ensemble members you'll see here are going for a continuation of mild weather right to the end of the first week of March. Precipitation-wise, a lot of dry weather coming up. Not completely dry, will be showery bursts at times, but a lot of dry weather coming up over the next couple of weeks for southern and eastern parts of the UK. Temperature anomalies from the 21st of February to 1st of March are going to be milder than average, a milder than average week coming up. Precipitation anomalies from the 21st of February to 1st of March. Drier than average, especially for more southern and southeastern parts of the country. A little bit wet average for western Scotland and for Ireland. Latest wind flow map from earth.nullschool.net shows that we're introducing, or we continue to have southerly southwesterlies, so the mild spell goes on and will continue to do so. This is how the UK Met looks for Wednesday during the long fetch southwesterly wind. Going to be very mild on Wednesday, exceptionally mild around middle part of the week. Into the second half of the week, just goes a little bit cooler, but still above average, and high pressure increasingly developing, so becoming drier into the second half of week and into next weekend. Going to be pleasantly mild by day and an average of high pressure. Could be a little bit chillier though by night. This is how the GFS operational midnight run is looking. So again, long fetch southwesterlies on Wednesday, looking very mild on Wednesday into Thursday and Friday. Just flatten off that southwesterly a little bit. Temperatures will drop, but will still be above average and looking mostly dry. And, pleasantly mild by day, but could be a little bit colder by night. Next weekend, dominated by high pressure, plenty of fine weather. We might get some fog going next weekend with this sort of pattern. If we do, that will limit the temperatures a little bit, of course. Into the early part of next week, just trying to get high pressure to Scandinavia and get wind into the east, but not really successfully doing so. And up to day 10, we sort of remain quite slack with weak low pressure in off the Atlantic, bringing some showery bursts, and temperatures remain mild. Now, things really ramp up into just beyond day 10, further into the first week of March. This is the 4th of March. Look at this, deep area of low pressure. That'll probably be a named storm if it came off, but I suspect it's overdone. It's quite strange to sort of go from that flabby slack type pattern at day 10 to this major windstorm 24 hours further on, so that's probably overdone. But if it came off, it would bring like severe gales and really shake things up. And then as that low pressure pushes through, it does pull some colder air in from the north, actually. So we do start to pull down some cold winds from the north. We saw it on the ensemble graph for London, didn't we? That the GFS does go cold in its very extended range. So a cold northerly sets in towards the end of the first week of March. It's really really cold northerly as well. -10 Celsius ice pushing through the country. But bear in mind, we're at 348 hours out now, so it's very unlikely to verify. But yeah, colder into later into the first week of March with the GFS operational run. But it was an outlier within the ensembles, of course. It was a cold outlier. More low pressure coming off the Atlantic there by the end of the GFS run could bring some snow. Let's see what 6 is doing. That's been updating as we've been speaking. So again, the same idea with GFS 6 there, but we'll build up high pressure over the end of this coming week and into next weekend. A lot of dry weather taking place. Under that high pressure, we can expect some colder nights, I think, with some frost returning perhaps, but by day should be pleasantly mild. Running up towards day 10, the high pressure begins to slip eastwards and we start to bring up more of a southerly flow. So reasonably dry and fine conditions really continuing into the opening days of March. That's day 10 on the 3rd of March. Now beyond that, let's see what happens. So high pressure again just builds across the top of the country, or stays across the top of the country through that first week of March. It's the 5th of March, for example. High pressure is well and truly dominating the scene now, and it just carries on. So a bit of a high pressure fest with the GFS 6 through the first week of March. And in right up to the very end, which gets us to the 9th of March, high pressure is still there, a little bit to our east, drawing up like a southeasterly flow of the continent. Shouldn't be particularly cold, I wouldn't have thought. But maybe a bit chilly with night frost and that sort of thing. But the emphasis is on a lot of dry weather through the early part of March. GEM looks like that, and you'll notice that cold northerly is gone from the operation already gone by the 6Z. GEM looks like that, very mild on Wednesday, southwesterly winds again. Then high pressure takes over into next weekend, turns us mostly dry. Again, comes some quite chilly nights in with that, but days should be pleasant. High pressure just around northeast by the 2nd of March, bit of an easterly flow. Could be a little bit colder with that, but it's not a particularly cold easterly day. 10 still dominated by high pressure, and then the ECM looking like this. So again, that long fetch southwesterly on Wednesday flattens off into the weekend. High pressure increasingly in business over weekend and through to day 10. High pressure dominates with the ECM midnight run as well. This is the precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run. So a little bit of showery rain around over the next day or so for England and Wales. Then the rain shifts to the northwest around the middle of the week as we draw up that long fetch southwesterly wind. Turning increasingly dry as we go through into weekend and up towards day 10 under the area of high pressure. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. Gets us to the 3rd of March. 17 members of the ECM ensembles will have high pressure. The country going to be mainly dry and fine with those. That includes the control run. 14 members of the ECM ensembles again with high pressure over and slightly to the east of the country. That's going to be mostly dry. That includes the operational run. 12 with high pressure a little bit to our south. Winds slightly more westerly. Could be a little bit more in south of the north. And 8 down here have high pressure right over top of the country. Again, a lot of dry weather will be involved with that. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This will get us to the 8th of March. I have 22 members of the ECM ensembles just to our northeast. Winds in from an easterly direction, mostly dry. Could be a little bit colder with that easterly flow. 19 with high pressure out to the west, low pressure to the east, perhaps drawing down a northerly wind. That could be similar to what the GFS midnight operational run was trying to do. So ECM ensemble members, 19 of them, do want to bring in some northerly winds by the 8th of March. And then 10 with just a deep area of low pressure to the country. Obviously, that's the most unsettled option. Could be rather chilly with that, as we have got a mid-Atlantic ridge. But the main thing with that is it's much more unsettled with low pressure over the country. CFSV2 looks like this. These are 500 millibar heights breaking down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 21st, 27th of February. The coming week with high pressure to our east and south, low pressure to our north and west. So winds coming up from a very mild southwesterly direction. Week 2 has us under high pressure. It's 28th of February to 6th of March. High pressure right over top of the country. Going to be mostly dry and fine with that. High pressure goes on into week 3. It's the 7th to the 13th March. This will be a very dry first half to March, by the way, under this large area of high pressure if this comes off. Generally quite mild as well, I would have thought. And the high pressure continues into week 4. It's the 14th to the 20th of March with high pressure over the top of the country and slightly to our south, drawing up winds by now from potentially a very mild southwesterly direction. So this could be a very mild and dry March, and it's on the way. Overall, March looking like this. CFS 700 millibar height anomaly. These update daily, but this is what it's showing today. High pressure right in over top of the country. Plenty of dry weather to come with that. Temperature anomaly for March is above average, a mild average month. Predictive. The precipitation anomaly is around normal, but with high pressure dominating as it is, like that, I'd expect a significantly drier than average month. So a dry, mild, maybe even quite warm March coming up, a nice start to spring 2021 perhaps. If you enjoyed this Sunday Round-Up, please can you click the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. You're going to be able to see future weather content. Tell your friends, family, and everybody else to subscribe as well. If everybody who subscribes brings a friend, we will be able to resume the grind to 11k subscribers. And drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, that's it for your Sunday Round-Up for today, then. Don't forget to check out that final, 7th and final spring update ahead of the spring forecast that's going to be released next Sunday, a week today. We're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock. So I'm going to see you live at 6. We'll show you, we will go through the 12s then, but we'll show you with that primarily, most interestingly, some summer data. We're looking at summer 2021 long-range data. Certainly the JMA will be included in that, and I suspect we'll have a little look at CFSV2 as well. For today's Sunday Roundup, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.